Hi everyone, Christina here. Welcome to another card video at my YouTube channel and blog. Today is the third and final DIY Valentine's Day card in my mini series for this year. And like the previous videos, I'm going to be using some inexpensive Crayola watercolor paints, some watercolor paper, and then also a black marker. So I'm first folding my watercolor paper in half to create a top folding card. The finished size of this card is 4¼ inch by 5½ inches. And I'm going to mix up a really pale shade of blue. I'm using the blue straight from the palette, and I've just watered it down quite a bit. I want it to be really, really pale because I'm going to be painting some other colors on top of it. So this bottom layer of really pale blue is going to create sort of like a cloud shape. So I'm painting large circular areas, almost like a big circle dot, and connecting them to create a cloud shape. And you can connect all those pieces until you have sort of a circular shape with some kind of scallop bumps, like sort of resembles a cloud. So I let that dry, and while it was drying, I mixed up some other shades to use for my flowers. I'm going to be painting flowers on top of the blue shape, and I'm first going to paint an underlayer, and it's going to be sort of a really blobby flower shape, and then I'll define the flower shapes with my black pen. So for now, I'm going to start with a red shade, and I'm going to just paint a really simple circle. It doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, if it's a little wonky, that's even better because we want this to look really playful. I'm now using an orange kind of coral shade, and I'm just using the strokes of the brush to create a flower that looks like it's turned on its side. Now I'm going to take some yellow or a gold color, and I'm going to sort of draw some small circles that are all going to connect together in the center to create a really simple flower shape. And I'll go ahead and fill in that area so it's all nice and solid. And then I'll move back to that red color, and I'm going to continue painting on some different shapes. I'm going to draw some berries and some other kind of big blobby flower shapes just until most of the area is kind of filled in. While I'm painting these flower shapes, I'm also thinking about where I'm going to later place some green leaves because we want to make sure that there's still some space for leaves later. So I'm filling in some of those center areas with the different red, orange, and yellow shades, but I'm also thinking about where I'm going to be putting those green leaves. So I'll add some berry shapes up here in the top right corner as well. And then I'm going to take this purple shade that I mixed in the bottom of my palette. I'm going to paint on a circular shape and then grab some more red paint and drop that in. I'm going to use my brush to help sort of mix those colors on my watercolor paper. And this is going to give me a more dynamic color shift on this one flower. So I've mixed up a green, and I didn't want to use the green straight from the palette because it's a really, really bright, really grass green, and I wanted a more toned green for these leaves. So the way you can get that shade is to put some green on your palette and then grab just the tiniest bit of red, and that will tone it down and make it not so bright. So I'm adding some leaf shapes in, and I'm thinking about how I'm going to draw the stems to connect the leaves. So if you have more than one leaf together, think about how they'll connect. I'm also leaving a space near the bottom right corner of this blue cloud shape where I'm going to write a message. So I let that dry completely, and now I'm going to come in with a black marker and draw in those really simple flower shapes. This is where you can be a little bit more playful and come up with your own flower shapes. These aren't realistic at all. This is very, very rudimentary and playful, so you can draw whatever flower shapes you want. In fact, that yellow flower is kind of wonky. One petal is really lots bigger than the others. You don't have to be perfect with this, and that's what's so great about doing a card like this is you can really have fun, and you don't have to be, a really precise illustrator or know how to draw really well to do this. So I'm drawing some lines for the stems on the leaves, and for this one right here, I'm drawing a long stem and connecting those 5 leaves. And I'll draw another spiral shape for this flower here. It's almost like a rose. Started with a spiral and then started kind of added on petals around it. And then I'm just going to do some stems for the berries. Connect all of those. You can see how easy this is, but how this style is very, very fun. I'm going to draw a curved line there and then kind of connect those petals. And I'm going to do the last few stems, and then I'm going to draw my sentiment. I'm just going to have it say love you. If you have a larger space left over, you could write in Happy Valentine's Day. I think this is kind of a generic love card. It's not necessarily for Valentine's Day, but you could give it for Valentine's Day. So I'm just going to write love you with my black marker. And that will finish the card for today. Super, super simple and easy. It's just a matter of doing layers of color and adding in some black pen or black marker at the very end. Hope you guys enjoyed this mini series. I hope to do more of these throughout the year. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.